Mr. VG Kannan, CEO of the Indian Banks Association. He's joining us over the phone. Very good morning to you, Mr. Kannan. Thanks for taking our early morning call. So you've all had about 24 hours or so, a little bit more than that, to look through the guidelines. My first question to you, sir, is, the assumption being made is that this is a stricter set of rules and you will probably see reported non-performing assets rise towards the stressed asset, overall stressed asset level. Is that a fair assumption to make, sir?
I think the stress assets level will not increase. I think most of the banks have been identifying stress assets of accounts which have been in default for more than 10 days, 15 days, 1 month, 2 months, and they have been monitoring this. So the stress asset level will not increase. What will happen actually is the effort to go about doing a resolution. That will happen. And I feel, in a way, instead of having the straight-jacketed certain specific schemes, this particular resolution plan, though has a timeline of 180 days, is totally free for the bank and the promoter to come with any proper resolution process. Therefore, in a way, this is also relaxation that no strict guidelines have been put regarding sustainable debt, non-sustainable debt, or SGR, change of promoter. So a lot of flexibility has been given. Having said this, 180 days timeline and the dropping of the JLF is something to be thought about.
Sir, I understand that the overall stressed asset level won't rise, but won't the NPA numbers within that stressed asset pool rise? Because, for instance, if accounts were in SMA2, they were 60 days overdue. Now, under this new framework, unless a resolution plan can actually be finalized, those will go into NPA quite rapidly, and the benefit under certain restructuring schemes like SDR will not exist.
See, although the account goes into default, if the account has been regularized within the period, it doesn't necessarily have to go through a resolution plan. The resolution plan is to ensure that in case the stress is going to continue, you cannot have a temporary relief, and a long-term solution will be found. And I think this is suppose that a particular account, in my own, my assumption, in case an account becomes a default in, say, 1 week, and he comes to the plan saying, I'm getting the money within a week. It's not a full-fledged plan, and unless restructuring of the the loan proposals take place, then there won't be any impact. Resolution plan could be simply a simple thing like only regulating the account. But what I'm looking at is, in case a restructuring takes place, then that has to take place within 180 days. All the documentation is to be done within 180 days, and then thereafter he can go ahead.
Feasible do you think it is, sir, that 180-day period within which banks have to find a resolution plan? And also, they don't specify that the guidelines seem to suggest that all bankers have to be on board. And a couple of people told us that in history we've never found a scenario where all bankers in a large case have come on board that quickly. Yeah,
I think that could be a major issue, getting all the 100% bankers. But having said that, I think the more a case of interbank discipline as to take it forward will come, and better sense should prevail for them to come to a solution immediately. So hitherto there is no penalty or anything for the bankers, so there could be dealing tactics. Now, under the new circumstances, the borrower also will probably be very keen with all the bankers with whom he had relationship in the form of financing the project. He will probably try to rally them around for a proper solution.
Sir, two quick questions. One is on provisioning. Again, the assumption being made is that if a larger number of accounts move into the IBC, provisioning requirements will be higher. So far, haircuts have been relatively steep from the early experience in the IBC. Would you agree, sir?
I won't say right now the haircuts all depends on how the haircut is going to pan out in the new series. But yes, the overall provisioning will have to increase because in the event of a default, there's a probability of a resolution plan coming. If the resolution plan comes, then the account gets categorized under NPA. And then subsequently, if the resolution plan doesn't happen within 180 days, then it may go to IBC. And there again, 50% provision might kick in. So all this could lead to higher provisions. But we do feel that this could send a signal to the borrowers and the bankers that they have to be very careful in the projections. Let's see how it pans out going forward.
Last question, sir. Anything else that stood out to you as something that banks may find tough to implement? I also point to the fact that they have to now report to CRILC every default above 5 crore. I don't know if that's a precursor to a public acknowledgement of default as well or not. But that or anything else, sir, that you think needs to be re-looked at?
Reporting of the transaction of the accounts to the CRILC was being done on a quarterly level for the transaction above 5 crores. But main issue is going to be whether many of the banks are prepared to do it on a weekly basis. My assumption is if they're in a position to do it quarterly, I think why not even monthly and why not even weekly for the short period. So that could be an immediate concern, but they have been given a week's time. They only have to tweak it and see that the data is collected and sent over. So I think that could be a minor irritant which could possibly be overcome. That's the only thing I feel.
All right, Mr. Kannan, really appreciate this call early morning to help us understand this better. That's the CEO of the Indian Banks Association.